Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bartelle's Money Talk. Do you have a small business? Are you living from profit to profit? I haven't heard that term. Well, I have an expert with me tonight. She specializes in bookkeeping, and she's going to tell you how to get ahead in your finances in your small business. Debbie, can you introduce yourself for us?
Sure. I'm Debbie Deknight. I own my own accounting firm. I've been doing this for got to be close to 35 years now. Yeah, been a long, long time. Let's see. Yeah, it shows.
That's okay. So, and you've been done the bookkeeping. You've been in it for 30 plus years. What made you go in this direction to help small business owners?
I started out wanting my own business. So 8 years ago, I made that move. And the struggles that I had starting my own business and figuring everything out, even though I had the accounting background, there's just so much into starting your own business. And I ran across Profit First, which is all about making sure that profit is built into everything you do in your business. And I saw the numbers, the failure rates, what happened to people. I started doing all of the research and I'm like, this is crazy. You know, this country was built on small business. And now small businesses can't survive. It's not right. Somebody needs to help.
And you know what? With you saying that, yeah, the small business owners, and really, I really started paying attention basically after COVID. But COVID wiped so many businesses out, like the smaller businesses in the city that I live. And so can you share with the listeners a few of the complications that you encountered when you started the small business? Because I'm sure when you decided that you were going to do this, you had no idea that you were going to run into the glitches that you did.
Oh, marketing.
Oh,
Marketing is the bane of my existence.
think it is.
I do not have a creative bone in my body, I have found. Now, ask me for an Excel spreadsheet that will make your eyes cross. Ask me to explain something 4 different ways to you having to do with accounting, and I'm good. Tell me to make a social media post, and I'm blank.
Me too. So that's what you struggled. And so in order to get business, someone has to know you're out there. Like if you could just get 2 or 3 clients that can help spread the word. But first you have to get that first client, and marketing, it's a beast. It's a beast.
It is. And it's so easy to turn around and find some help in the marketing space. That doesn't turn out to be helpful. There's no return on investment and it ends up to be a complete money suck. And I've done that several times over the years. It's one of those things. It's hit or miss. You get somebody who knows what they're doing or you don't.
Now, you know what? You got to talk about that just for a few minutes, because if we have somebody that is thinking about starting a small business, can you talk to them just a little bit about that marketing piece? Because you said something major. You can pay people to do a job, but if they don't really know what they're doing, you're going to lose so much money in marketing and not get one single client. So can you talk to them just a little bit if they're thinking about starting a small business, what they need to look out for when it comes to this marketing piece?
I would say the way to go is if you know other business owners who are happy, not that they have a marketing service, but they are happy with the marketing service that they have, and they track their ROI for their marketing and they see that they are getting 3-4 times or more the results from their marketing efforts, I would say latch on to whoever it is that they are using to turn around and do that. Unfortunately, marketing changes over time. What was working 8 years ago isn't what's working today. And you have to turn around and read through tons of stuff online and try and figure out, okay, what way should I go? Because every marketer you talk to is going to tell you their way is the way that works. It's probably how people feel about getting bookkeepers and accountants. Like, same kind of thing. Well, they said they could do my books, but now my numbers are worse than they were before. Or they're doing the books for me, but everything's lumped together and I don't know what's what. There's just so many options out there, and numbers are numbers. Yes. Bookkeeping and accounting is bookkeeping and accounting.
Right.
But when you're dealing with marketing, you have to plan to spend money. You're not going to be able to probably do it yourself and get reliable results. And you have to realize that any decent marketing takes at least 3 months to start seeing a return on your investment.
Wow. Now, who knew that? 3 months. Well,
Minimum.
okay, so listeners, if you're thinking about starting a business, I can tell you from experience, Debbie has tons of experience. If you don't have a marketing plan, you need to sit tight until you get one, because I can tell you from experience, you will spin your wheels, you will spend your money, and you will get absolutely nowhere with not one single lead, not even a client, not even a lead that you can convert to a client, because the marketing isn't working. And so with you, you had to have a tilting point to make you want to go out and help people. What happened to you to make you say, well, no, I need to make it my business to help business owners, small business owners, go from profit to profit? I have never heard that said like that. It's always paycheck to paycheck.
No, profitability has to be built into everything that you do in your business, because without that, you're going to constantly struggle to turn around and be able to pay yourself, to meet your bills, to make payroll. A lot of people end up running up debt, and then they end up having to close their business, and now they've got personal debt that they're responsible for, and their business is closed, and they end up in a worse situation than they were before they started their business. And it's sad. It's very sad, because, as a small business owner, we work. We work. Nobody works harder than we do. And to not be able to succeed, it's heartbreaking.
It is so heartbreaking. And then when you touched on the point, eventually I'm going to get to where we're supposed to go, but you're giving me so much meat. Yeah, so the sad thing is, if someone is listening to us and they're thinking about starting a small business, you really do. You have in your mind that it's going to be successful. You're going to have in your mind that it's going to work. But so many people are going into personal debt. Some even are having to file bankruptcy because of the failure of a small business. But you're here to help people not go that route. And so this is something that I just want to read that I have about you. So Debbie, she empowers business owners to make informed decisions that lead to real, lasting profitability. And one of the reasons you have chosen to become a small business owner is because, number one, I'm sure you want to manage your own time. And number two, you want to make money.
Yep.
You don't go into it planning to fail. That's not the idea. So now that we've touched on that, can you tell us what is Profit First?
Profit First is a cash flow management system. So when you're thinking of starting a business, or you already did start a business, everything you look at online is telling you, okay, sales minus your expenses equals your profit. The profit is what's left over at the end of the day. And once you have a working business, you will find that profit is usually missing at the end of the day. You've got your sales, you've paid your expenses, and then, hello, where'd the rest go? So with Profit First, it is sales minus your profit equals your expenses. Your expenses must fit what's left over after you've taken out your profit. The profit comes out first. This way, profitability is built into everything you do. It is a must-have. So people have been told, and I've been told it, and if you have enough sales, it will work out and you will be profitable. If you're not profitable, you need more sales. That's bull. It's not the truth. Is sales important? Absolutely. Sales are important. But if you're not pricing your product right, if you don't have the right labor, if you are overspending, if you're leaking profit in your business, I don't care how much sales you get, it's not going to work. You're never going to pay yourself what you're worth. You're never going to be able to take bonuses. You're never going to be able to take time off, because you're not going to be able to hire the staff to do some of the job for you so that you can turn around and only maybe work a half a week. You're not going to get the financial freedom you started a business for, or the time for you. Profit is essential. If you turn around and have your profitability dialed in, and you have your expenses dialed in, where you know where every dollar in your business is going and what purpose it has, then as your sales grow, your profitability grows.
Wow, that is pretty powerful because like in my world, we are like pay yourself first. And we're talking about the 401ks and all of that stuff. But in your world, it's profit first. So with your system that you're talking about, if they build in the profit from the beginning, you saying that they will be able to sustain their business. Is that pretty much right? Or
Yes, they need to build in the profit, but they also need to control all of the expenses in the business. So for most business owners, they're reactive to what's going on. Something's come in, something's gone out. Now, shoot, I've got a problem. I can't make payroll. They're always reacting and putting out these fires. When you control the finances in your company, there aren't fires like that because you're proactive. You have your finger on the pulse of what's going on. You know what's going out. You're controlling your spending. You're being frugal. You're not over hiring. You're not overpaying for things. You're not going into debt because you've got money put away for taxes. You've got money put away for your own salary. You've got money put away for profit. If you have employees, for payroll. And all of these buckets are bank accounts where you actually get clarity on where your money is going and what purpose it serves.
Well, you know what? Leaning in on that. A lot of our listeners, they're millennials. And I'm sure a lot of them today, they want to leap out and get their own business. But there's two major things. The first thing you mentioned, you want to make sure you don't have no leakage. So can you give some examples of what you're saying when you're talking about things leaking from your profitability?
Sure. So we work a lot with people in the trades. So for instance, say you're a plumbing company and on your estimates that you're giving, you're forgetting to take into consideration the truck materials that you're using.
Okay.
You're forgetting that prices have gone up and you haven't updated your price book of what you're charging people for a part. You're estimating your labor to be 2.5 hours for a job, but it took you 4 hours to do. There's a lot of things that go on where you're great at what you do. You know how to do it. You started the business because you love it and you're good at it. The numbers are just as important as what you are doing in the business, because if they don't match and they don't work hand in hand together, you're going to lose all of your profit in where it leaks because you don't have, it's like your finger in a dam. You've got to plug it because most people have all these little holes and the water's just right out. And that's where your profitability went. That's why there's nothing left in your bank accounts at the end of the month. And you're wondering, I just did, could be $15,000 or $150,000 in sales for the month. And why am I broke again? Why am I wondering how I'm going to make the next payroll? It's because you're overspending and you're leaking money.
Now, somebody need to hear that. I don't know if it's a small business owner or if it's someone thinking about starting a small business, because you really don't know how it is until you jump in it. Because I can assure most people, if you see a small business owner and they're looking successful, you have no clue what it took for them to look successful. So when you are talking about starting a small business, you really need to know what you are doing. And so leaning into that debt, I want you to talk to the small business owner or someone thinking about starting a small business. They don't have the money, their own money, to start this business, and they're thinking about getting a loan from the bank.
Well, let's take a step back, if it's okay.
It is.
So we were talking about what it takes for somebody to look successful.
Oh,
now,
yes.
Let's be real. There are a lot of people out there who look successful who are not successful. Ooh. Just because somebody has $1 million business, a $5 million business, 10 million, doesn't mean squat. That's their sales. That is not their profitability.
Really?
So I've got business owners who have $6-7 million a year in revenue, but they're $1 million in debt.
You're joking.
No, not at all. Just because, again, you've got sales doesn't mean your business is working right. It means you have sales.
Okay.
That's all it means.
It takes a lot to get me speechless. You just almost got me. But okay, well, what's your advice or your recommendation for people who don't have their own bit money to start their business? Because sometimes it takes money. Because you already mentioned marketing. You need to have money in the pot just for that alone.
You're going to have money for your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in service, your van, your tools, your office supplies, your marketing,
Mm-hmm.
any subscriptions that you need in order to run the business, because everybody always has software that's needed. If you have nothing to start the business with, you have a couple of choices. You wait and you save, or you do it. Some people do, and I don't recommend it. They do it by credit cards.
Oh, I definitely, yeah.
Or sometimes people will take out a loan or like an SBA loan to do it. There's a lot of planning that has to go into not only starting the business, but how are you going to run the business? How are you going to fund it for the first 6 months? You have to have a plan, a worst case scenario plan, and this is what I hope plan, and a what's a realistic plan. Okay, because we all think, oh yes, they're going to fall in my lap, and they're going to give me referrals, and life ain't that sweet.
That is so true. It's not that sweet, and we are not here to be Debbie Downers. We are here to tell you the truth from experience. Debbie is a bookkeeper. She sees what's happening. So I highly recommend that you listen to her. If you are in any way considering starting a small business, please listen to what she says, because can you imagine having $5 to $6 million in sales and you are $1 million look in the hole in debt? See, that sounds scary to me.
It is scary. It's scary to me, and it's not my money. I look at it and I'm like, and what happened is they were overspending. They were leaking money. They took on loans and debt to turn around and be able to keep functioning, instead of fixing the problem, instead of getting help and saying, okay, this isn't right, help me fix it. They just let it keep going and snowballing until it got to be this huge monster on their back.
Oh boy.
Don't let things grow. If you've got to fund things, different ways, there's something going on. There's a Profit First book out by Mike Michalowicz. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it Kindle, there's an audio book. If you're going to start a new business, or you have started a new business, spend the, $16? It'd be the best $16 you ever spend. Get the book, read it, truly listen to it. Don't just turn it on in the car and be kind of, pay attention. It will help you to get some of those fundamental building blocks in line so that you don't face those problems later on.
Wow. Okay. So, and that is so good. And this may be for listeners who already may have a small business. This may sound like a dumb question, but we have someone, let's say, for an example, they have a small business and they feel like something's like not quite right. Can you give them like a concrete signal as to when they need to recognize they need to go find a bookkeeper, someone that can help them figure out what's going on with their profitability?
It's not even necessarily that they need a bookkeeper.
Okay.
I believe that anybody doing under 300,000 in revenue should be doing their own books.
Okay.
I don't believe that they should have a bookkeeper. They cannot afford a bookkeeper, and their books at that point are simple enough, and there's very low transactions that they should be doing it. Now, what they should do is they should hire somebody to train them on how to use like QuickBooks Online or Xero, and help them to set up the chart of accounts, show them how to create rules, let them understand how the software works, and then they can do it themselves. Usually around $500,000 is where people start to turn around and hire it out.
Wow. And so why is that again?
Because they just can't afford to hire it out to somebody.
Oh, because it's that expensive.
Usually working with a bookkeeper starts around $550 a month for a very small business. And that's like very basic. And, some people could be more, depends on where you are in the country. There's different, prices, different areas. But yeah, it's not cheap to work with a bookkeeper for a business that's only doing $100,000 a year.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't work. But turning around and paying somebody for 3 hours of their time and spending, you know, $500 to train you on how to do it so that you can do it for the next 2 years yourself is a good value.
Okay. I like that idea. I like that approach. So hopefully that will help someone. And then you need to be able to recognize when you need help, because if you don't recognize it and you just keep spinning your wheels, you go out and get debt. I'm telling you, I hope you heard what Debbie said at the beginning. You'll end up losing your business and you're going to be in debt. So that's why we're here trying to help you, small business owners and you dreamers who want to have a small business, because we don't want you to go out and make unwise decisions. And so there's one question that I have written down, Debbie, too, that I wanted to ask you. What makes Profit First different from traditional accounting practices?
So it goes back to that flip of sales minus profit equals your expense. So I'm going to kind of date myself. Back in the day, like my grandmother and my grandmother's grandmother, they would use the envelope system. Can you remember watching the Waltons on TV?
Yes, I do. I love them.
Okay, dating myself, right? But Grandma Walton always had an envelope. Remember? She had envelopes in her purse. They'd bring home the money. She'd put some away for the mortgage, some for the gas, some for utilities, some for food, and she'd separate it up. And she did that so that she could control what she was spending on, and she had a budget. And when the envelope was empty, she was done. It's the same thing with Profit First, only instead of envelopes, we have bank accounts. So there's an income bank account, and that's where all the money comes into your business. Okay. Then we have a profit bank account, a owner's pay bank account. We have a tax bank account and an OPEX. So we have 5 core accounts that go with Profit First. And essentially what happens is, usually for most small business owners, it's every week. You take the money from the income account and you distribute it to the other 4 accounts based on your Profit First percentage. So when you turn around and allocate, so now when you look at your bank account, you're not looking at a bank account that shows $12,000. You're looking at an OPEX bank account that shows $3,000, because some of it's in your owner's comp, some of it's to pay your taxes, because your business should pay the business taxes and your personal taxes.
Okay, say that again.
Your business should pay the business taxes and your personal taxes.
Okay.
That's what you want your business to do. It should do that for you.
Boy, you got to have a good business. A very profitable business.
Now, a lot of people, when they start out, you know, they might only have 1 or 2% of their income going into some of these accounts.
Right.
But it's a matter of starting where you are and slowly moving those up as you get more sales, as you become more profitable. You know, there's only so much profit can do for you if you don't have sales. They've got to work hand in hand.
That's so true.
So most people look at the account, they get confused. They think they have more money than they have because they forget, I haven't run payroll yet. I wrote a check that didn't clear yet. I got, you know, my semi-annual insurance payment coming up. You know, bank accounts give you clarity. Bills come out of OPEX.
Wow. Say that term again, OPEX?
OPEX, your operating expenses. That's things like insurance, subscriptions, office supplies, gas, rent, utilities. Things like that come out of that account.
So that makes sense. And since now you've broken down all the accounts to help explain what Profit First is, if we have someone listening and they are already a small business owner and they're trying to figure out how they can gain some financial independence, what are your recommendations for that?
Read the book and then reach out to somebody who is certified in Profit First. Profit First is kind of like Intuit or Xero, where people have to take testing. They're certified. They belong to it. You'll see people out there who will talk about profitability, but they are not certified by Profit First. So I would look for that. I know, for example, I created a online self-paced course to put people through Profit First, way more in depth than what the book goes, for the small business owners who can't afford to work with somebody one-on-one, but need to turn around and get control of their business now.
Perfect. So for Profit First, you recommend it to someone who's having like sales of what, maybe 100 to 300,000. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I would say at least 100,000. Yeah.
Okay, and then once they get up to like a 500,000, at that point they need to look at having somebody help them manage what they're doing.
They could. It depends on the person. Some people are doing their bookkeeping and they're $1 million in revenue. And some people at 300 are pulling their hair out saying, I hate numbers so bad. I don't care what it costs. Just do it for me. But make sure your numbers are clean. Make sure that your numbers are recorded. Make sure anything that you're paying for on your personal credit card is put in there for tax purposes as the deduction. Do not mix business and personal transactions in bank accounts, credit cards, loans. IRS does not like it, and neither does your bookkeeper.
I bet they don't.
It will dirty up your books if you mix things. Now, you can have a personal bank account or a personal credit card account that you use for business, as long as it's only used for business transactions. That's perfectly fine.
That's a good explanation. And so if I have someone listening and they are like, I'm thinking about this Profit First, can you give them 3 benefits locating a certified, what is it, first person?
Profit First.
Yes, Profit First. Yes.
You're going to get somebody with experience who knows what they're doing, somebody who has worked with a lot of other businesses and has helped them. And you're talking with somebody who has a vested interest in the success of your business, because we're here to work with you, not just for a week or a month. We're here to help you grow your business and to be your sounding board, your partner, the person that you vent to, the person that you toss ideas around with, beyond just doing profitability in your business. So that's worth a lot, because I turn around and my husband asks me how my day is, and I'm like, give him the tiniest little version, because otherwise you just see the glaze and the eyes roll. And he tries, he's very supportive, but if you're not a business owner, you don't get it, because it's just a whole different animal when you own a business.
I had no clue, but now that I'm in the thick of things, I know. Look, too bad I didn't get to talk to you first. I would have done a lot of things differently, but because you have so much experience, you've been doing this for so long, you have so much wisdom, Debbie, so much. Can you give 3 things of encouragement for the small business owner who may feel like they're just failing, like they can't win? Hear that wisdom.
It's normal. You're not alone. We all feel that way at the beginning of our businesses. Perseverance is what's going to get you to where you want to be.
Oh, yes.
And get support from family, from friends. Find a mentor. Just because they don't understand doesn't mean they can't support you. Doesn't mean they can't make dinner that day that you're running late or you have an estimate to do, or they can't go pick up the kids, or your family has ways to help you and support you in ways that don't involve them in the business, but open you up to be able to do more in your business.
Wonderful. And now if they want to track you down and talk to you, because I love your experience and the knowledge that you have, and it's obvious that you want to help people succeed in their business because of what you went through when you first started yours. Profit First says it all. If you want to profit first, you need to locate someone that is certified. So tell them how to find you.
You can find me on our website. I'm gonna say it. It's long, so bear with me, because everybody always misspells it. So it's rightwayprofits.com. It's RIGHTWAYPROFITS.com. And on there, you'll find information. You'll also find that online class. You can sign up for newsletters for hints and tips and just information that is good to know as a business owner. And you can always email, it's on there too. Anything that we can help you with, we're always, open to helping small businesses.
Well, Debbie, I want to thank you so much for joining Bartelle's Money Talk. This has been a delight. You shared things with me that I wasn't even aware of. And personally, I've never heard of Profit First. It's like every small business, that's where they need to start, because that's one of the main reasons why we're even going into business, so that we can control our own time and make a difference in the world. So Profits First, it speaks for itself. And again, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on Bartelle's Money Talk.